இவங்களுக்கு நீங்க எது பர்மிஷனே கொடுக்கலையோ இது ஒரே கிளாஸ் அப்படின்னு உங்களுக்கு 2 கிளாஸஸ் இல்ல பல்லவி பல்லவிக்கு 2 கிளாஸ் விஜினா ஒண்ணு விஜினா ஒண்ணு இன்னைக்கு யாருமே இல்லையே அருணாச்சல் கட்டே ஆயிடுச்சு இப்ப எந்த நெட்வொர்க்ல கனெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கா இல்ல ஒரு இதுக்கு ஒரு ஒரு மோடலுக்கு 5 டிவைசஸ் தான் கனெக்ட் பண்ணாங்க ஒரே நெட்வொர்க் வந்து ரெண்டு என்டர்பிரைஸ் 4 என்டர்பிரைஸ் வாலெட் பணம் ஆட் பண்ணணும். அந்த வாலெட்ல பணம் ஆட் பண்ணாதான் அவங்க ஸ்கேன் பண்ணி போஸ்டிங் இது பண்ண ஆரம்பிப்பாங்க. காலையில இருந்து நான் ட்ரை பண்ணிக்கிட்டே வரவே இல்லை. சரி எனக்கு தான் ப்ராப்ளம் பார்த்தா அவங்க போஸ்ட் ஆஃபீஸ் கேட்கிறேன் சார் எங்களுக்கே நெட்வொர்க் வரல சார். அதான் நான் அப்புறம் எனக்கு 4 மணி போல நெட்வொர்க் வந்துருச்சு. நெட்வொர்க் வந்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் அவங்களுக்கு போன் பண்ணி சொன்னேன் சார் எங்களுக்கு இப்போ வரைக்கும் எனக்கு நெட்வொர்க் வரல சார். பாக்குறேன் சார் மேக்ஸிமம் நீங்க அனுப்புற மாதிரி நாளைக்கு காலையில அனுப்பிடுறேன்.
Morning rice. अरे मैं और बता रहा साथ बता रहा morning और बता रहा அது அது ஓகே யாராவது வந்தாங்களான்னு கேட்டேன் மார்னிங் ரைஸ் யாரும் வரல இல்ல சார் ரெண்டு பேர் வந்தாங்களா Pita ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. We can wait for 1 or 2 minutes, I guess. Is it right, ma'am? For the
Okay, sir.
participants? Huh?
Yes,
One
sir,
or
we
two.
shall wait.
By two, we
Yeah.
will start now.
Yeah,
Okay.
5 to we shall start.
Okay. Ashwita ma'am,
Yes, sir.
maybe you can start, ma'am. The block has been added.
Okay. Fine. We shall start.
Okay.
Namaste, a very happy evening to all my dear students, teacher, and the school administrative department. We welcome you all to our science session of Vidya Shakti. My name is Ashwita Malnad and I'm your science tutor. So, how are you all doing, students? Hope you all have good health. Good evening, Yadavat School. It's nice to see your message. Okay. So, last class, it was all about MCQ test. We had a very deep and enchanting knowledge about conservation of plant and animal chapter. And we also had a quick introduction for reproduction in animals chapter. Let us continue the topic reproduction in animals. When I was a kid like you, maybe in my eighth or ninth class, we had this particular chapter. The name of the chapter was Life Process Part 2. Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 was regarding the plants, and Part 2 was regarding the animals. So it was very, uncomfortable chapter. It was like as if, girls were separate, boys were separate, and we were taught about this particular chapter back then. Okay. But now the time is changed. So students like you are more mature and knowledgeable. The reason these kind of topic is being kept at this particular grade is that the children should get the basic knowledge about reproduction. Okay. And it is very important. And I'm sure that you all are matured enough to understand the importance of the chapter. So instead of feeling uncomfortable, oh, what is ma'am teaching here? What are we supposed to learn? Why are we supposed to learn all this topic? Apart from keeping that in the mind, please be mature and with the complete interest of knowledge, learn these topics. Okay. Uh, Having said that, in the last class, we had discussed about the male and female reproductive organ, and we also discussed about the different type of reproduction. Okay, sexual reproduction, asexual reproduction, and you're pretty much clear about the plants, how the reproduction would happen, and this chapter is all about in the animals. And while I explain you about sexual reproduction, we have male reproductive organs. So the male reproductive organ includes a pair of testes or singular testes, and then two sperm ducts, and then a penis. So these are the male reproductive organs or the male gametes. Okay. And these male gametes produce sperms. And million of sperms are produced by the testes. So which sperms are very small in size, and it each has a head, a middle piece, and a tail. Okay. And it appears to be a single cell indeed. So I shall share you some image and explain about this topic in a much clear and precise manner. Give me a moment, children. Here we go. Hope you all can see my screen. Yes, this is how a sperm looks. So it has a head, middle part of the body, and a tail. And this is how the image of a male reproductive organ looks like. So the oval shape here is the testis. This is a penis. And you have sperm. Clear? So this is how a fertile egg looks like, and a sperm looks like this. We have more images for your better understanding. Okay, these are like snake shaped. Again, you can find the head, the middle part of the body, and the tail. Okay, next is the female reproductive organ. So the female reproductive organs are a pair of ovaries, same like male, or I should have not erased it. Anyways, over here we have a pair of um, testes, and then we have two sperm duct, okay, and a penis. This is male reproductive organ or male gametes, whereas a female reproductive organ has pair of ovaries, ಅಂಡಾಶಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ. Okay, oviducts, like a sperm duct. Here is a oviduct. We call it as fallopian tubes. And then a uterus, garbhakosha. Okay. So your textbook in the page number 15 also you have the image of a female reproductive organ which has the oviduct and uterus, ovary. Okay, ಒಂದ್ ಜೊತೆ ovaries ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ oviduct ಇರುತ್ತೆ, fallopian tubes ಇರುತ್ತೆ, uterus ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so ಅದರ ಒಂದು image ನ I will show it here. This is how it looks like. So this part it has the ovaries, ovaries ಗಳಿರುತ್ತೆ, oviduct ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಮತ್ತು this part would be the uterus. Okay. ಅಂಡ್ ಈ ಯೂಟ್ರಸ್, ಈ ಗರ್ಭಕೋಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮಗುವಿನ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆ ಆಗೋದು. ಆ ಬೇಬಿ ಗ್ರೋಸ್, ಆರ್ ಮೆಡಿಕಲಿ ಆರ್ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಫೀಟಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಬೇಬಿ ಇಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಔಟ್, ಅಂಟಿಲ್ ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಫೀಟಸ್. So this is about the female, male and female reproductive organ. ಈಗ ಮೇಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಗೆಟ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ರೀಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸಸ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಸ್. ಅದೇ ತರ ಫಿಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ರೀಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸಸ್ ಓವಾ. ಓವಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ OVA, ಓವಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಇನ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಮೆಚೂರ್ಡ್ ಎಗ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಓವಿಡಕ್ಟ್. ಓವಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ, ಓವಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಫೆಲೋಪಿಯನ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಸ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, this one, or here rather I'll show you this part, we call it as oviduct. ಆ oviduct ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಗ್ಸ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದ್ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಮೆಚೂರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಎಗ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರತಿ ತಿಂಗಳು, ಎವ್ರಿ ಮಂತ್. ಸೊ ಯೂಟ್ರಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ವೇರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ fetus or baby takes place, like the sperm and egg is also a single cell. Okay, it's very much clear and to be understood. Sperm is sperm and egg, these both are single cell. ಒಂದು ಜೀವಕೋಶ. ಸೊ ಈ ಎರಡು ಜೀವಕೋಶದಿಂದ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಹೊಸದೊಂದು ಜೀವಕೋಶ ಹುಟ್ಟುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಅದನ್ನೇ ಕೂಡ ದಟ್ itself we have explained you in this particular image. Like egg, you get the sperm, it gets attached. Though millions of sperms come, there is only one sperm that get attached to the egg. And that single sperm, ನೀವು ನೋಡಬಹುದು ಈ ರೀತಿ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ಅದು 4 ಭಾಗವಾಗಿ ವಿಂಗಡಣೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. And then it forms the zygote. Okay, zygote in the embryo, embryo in the fetus, fetus in the baby. This is how the reproduction in animals takes place. Clear, children? Easy to understand? Okay, any doubts, any difficulties, please feel free to revert. So, and you must also you have to know that zygote is the beginning of a new individual. Okay. So, eggs ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ it can be a single cellular egg, small egg, ಅಥವಾ ostrich ತರ ದೊಡ್ಡ egg ಸಹ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು. Okay. So this was about the male and female reproduction ಅಥವಾ reproductive organ. Now, let us go ahead and learn about another important topic, that is fertilization. We know about the fertile land. ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಫಲವತ್ತತೆಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. So which land do we call fertile land? We can, where you can sow the seeds and the seeds germinate into small plants turn into crop and start giving the yield. We call that as a fertilized land. But what about a human body? What do we understand about fertilization here? See, the first step in the process of reproduction is the fusion of a sperm and a ovum. Okay. Time and again, I have to show you the same picture because while explaining with one single picture, I can't explain the entire chapter. And but the entire chapter is dealt in one single picture. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು sperm and the ovum gets in fusion for the reproduction. When sperm comes in contact with an egg, one of the sperm may fuse with the egg. Okay, such fusion of the egg and the sperm is called as fertilization. ಈಗ ಒಂದು egg male, I had told you, the female reproductive organ produces one single matured egg. Every month it gets produced. Whereas the male reproductive organ, apparently male gamete produce millions of sperms. So a millions of sperm ಅಲ್ಲಿ only one sperm get attached to the egg. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಈಗ ಆ ಎಗ್ಗೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗುವಂತಹದ್ಕೆ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಎಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್. You can, if you have opened your textbook, you can underline that particular point or take a note saying that the fusion of egg and the sperm is called fertilization. During the fertilization, the nuclei of the sperm and the egg fuse to form a single nucleus. This result in the formation of a fertilized egg or a zygote. ನಾ ಆಗ್ಲೇ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ದಂಗೆ ತೋರಿಸ್ದಂಗೆ ಇದರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಓವಮ್ ಸೇರಿ ಹೊಸದೊಂದು ಜೀವ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಯಾಗುತ್ತೆ and we call it as zygote. Okay, and this zygote is the beginning of new individual. The process of fertilization is the meeting of an egg cell from the mother and a sperm cell from the father. Okay, so the new individual inherits some characteristics from the mother and some from the father. Look at your brother or sister. See if you can recognize some characters in them similar to those of your mother or your father. ಅಮ್ಮನ್ ತರಾನೇ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅಮ್ಮನ್ ತರಾನೇ ಗುಂಗುರು ಕೂದ್ಲಿದೆ, ಅಪ್ಪನಷ್ಟೇ ಹೈಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಅಮ್ಮನ್ ತರಾನೇ ಧ್ವನಿ ಇದೆ. ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀರಲ್ವಾ, ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಕಲರ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಸಮ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಯು ಗೆಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಯೋರ್ ಮದರ್ ಆಸ್ ವೆಲ್ ಆಸ್ ಫಾದರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಬೈಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಸೇಮ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಮ್ಮಂದೇ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಇರೋದು ನಿನ್ಗೆ ಅಂತ. ಒಳ್ಳೇದೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಓಕೆ ನಂತರ, ತಪ್ಪು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸೇಮ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಮ್ಮ ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಪ್ಪ ತರ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಈ ತರವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬೇಕು. From the mother, you get the egg or ovum. From the father, we get the sperm. The fusion of these, we call it as fertilization. This gives birth to zygote, and zygote is the beginning of a new individual. Clear, children? Okay. So now let's go further. Fertilization which takes place inside the female body is called internal fertilization. Okay, ದೇಹದ ಒಳಗೆ ನಡೆಯುವಂತಹ ಈ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ನ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್. Internal fertilization occur in many animals including humans, cows, dogs and hens. Okay, so ಅವು ಕೂಡ ಮಗುಗೆ ಜನ್ಮ ಕೊಡುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಸಾರಿ, ಅವು ಕೂಡ ಮಗುಗೆ ಜನ್ಮ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಹಸು ಕರುನ ಹುಟ್ಟಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಡಾಗ್ ಪಪ್ಪಿ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ನಾಯಿ ಮರಿಯನ್ನ ಹುಟ್ಟಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಕೋಳಿ ಮರಿನ ಹುಟ್ಟಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಕೋಳಿ ಮೊಟ್ಟೆಯನ್ನ ಇಡುತ್ತೆ. ಮೊಟ್ಟೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಮಯ ಆದ ನಂತರ ಕೋಳಿ ಮರಿಯಾಗಿ ಪರಿವರ್ತನೆಗೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಸ್ ಬೇಬೀಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಬೇಬೀಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಯಾ, ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಬೇಬೀಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಸೊ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ದ ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್. Is that true, Yadavat school? The fusion of the egg and the sperm is called fertilization. I repeat, the fusion of the egg and the sperm is called fertilization. Okay? Great. So now, have you heard about test tube babies? Test tube babies ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೆಯುವಂತ ಬೇಬೀಸ್. ಹೌದಾ? ಹಿಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಬೇಬೀಸು. ಒಂದ್ ಲ್ಯಾಬೊರೇಟರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಎಗ್, ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ ಎಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಎರಡನ್ನೂ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಎರಡು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಟ್ಯೂಬಲ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ. ಟ್ಯೂಬಲ್ ಹಾಗೆ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಟ್ಯೂಬಲ್ ಮಗು ಬೆಳೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಮಗು ಬೆಳೆದು ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗುತ್ತೋ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಒಡೆದು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಡೆದು ಹೋಗಿ ಮಗುನ ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್? ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ದ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಬೇಬೀಸ್ ಗ್ರೋ. How many of you are going to tell this is the right way of test tube babies? Can I have some answers? At least some responses? Whatever I told now, is it right? The babies that grow in tubes is called as test tube babies. Wrong. The term is actually misleading. When we tell test tube babies, people think that babies that grows in test tubes are called as test tube babies. No. Babies cannot grow in test tubes. Okay. There are certain times women cannot bear babies because their oviducts are blocked or the sperms cannot reach the egg for fertilization. So again, doctors would tell that we shall collect freshly released egg and sperm and keep them together for few hours for IVF. Here, IVF ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Yadav at school, we don't know about it, ma'am. Okay, ma'am is here to teach you. IVF ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ in vitro fertilization. Okay. So ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ದೆ internal fertilization ಅಂತ most ಅಲ್ಲ a maximum of the women, cow, animals, dog, hen, everything the fertilization happens internally when the male gametes produces sperms and the female gametes produces ovum. When they both culminate, when they both get into the fusion, we have the fertilization that happens internally within the female body. But in some cases, when the oviduct is blocked or when sperms cannot reach the egg, in such cases, the doctors would collect the egg and the sperm and they kept together for few hours, and this process is called as in vitro fertilization, the fertilization that occurs outside the body. Okay. In case fertilization occurs, the zygote is allowed to develop for about few weeks and then it is placed into the mother's uterus. ಓಕೆ ಆಚ್ ಕಡೆನೆ ಆ ಒಂದು ಝೈಗೋಟ್ ನ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆ ಆಗಕ್ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ತಾಯಿಯ ಗರ್ಭಕೋಶಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Complete development takes place in the uterus and the baby is born like any other baby. ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಆ ಒಂದು ಝೈಗೋಟ್ ನ ತಾಯಿಯ ಗರ್ಭಕೋಶಕ್ಕೆ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಾದ ನಂತರ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ನಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಗರ್ಭಾಶಯದ ನಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಆ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಮುಂದುವರಿಯುತ್ತೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಒಂದು ತಾಯಿಯ ಒಂದು ಮಗು ಹೇಗೆ ಜನನ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಆ ರೀತಿನೇ ಜನನ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಬೇಬೀಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so we call it as IVF or in vitro fertilization. Now is it clear? Right? So we have to know that many animals fertilization takes place outside the body of the female. ಓಕೆ ಸೊ ಈ ಬರೀ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೊಸ ಆವಿಷ್ಕಾರ ಆಗಿ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಬೆಳೆದಿರೋದು ಅಂತ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ದ ಬಾಡಿನೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ ದೀಸ್ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಇನ್ ವಾಟರ್. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಅದ್ ಹೇಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಸೊ ನೀವ್ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಪಾಂಡ್ಸ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ನೀರ್ ನಿಂತಿರೋ ಜಾಗಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಮಳೆಗಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಹೋದಾಗ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಅ ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ರೌಂಡ್ ಕಲರ್ ಎಗ್ಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ಫ್ಲೋಟಿಂಗ್. ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅನುಭವಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಬಂದಿರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಬಾರ್ದೇನೆ ಇರಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ಈ ತರನಾಗಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಈ ತರ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ಎಗ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. ಏನಿರಬಹುದು ಅದು? ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಸ್ಪ್ರಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ರೈನಿ ಸೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಫೈಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್. These are called as frog's egg. Frogs andre kappe. Okay. Frogs and frogs move to ponds and slow flowing stream. When the male and female come together in water, the female lays hundreds of eggs, unlike hens or egg. Athwa ಬೇರೆ ತರ ಎಗ್ ಹೊರತುಪಡಿಸಿ the frog eggs na 100 of eggs na lay ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ and You have to know this egg is not covered in the shell. ಕೋಳಿ ಮೊಟ್ಟೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಶೆಲ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ವೈಟ್ ಕಲರ್ ಶೆಲ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಈ ಒಂದು ಮೊಟ್ಟೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಶೆಲ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ. And they are very delicate. A layer of jelly holds the egg together and provides protection to the egg. So as the eggs are laid, the male deposits sperms over them. Each sperm swims randomly in water with the help of its long tail. The sperm come in contact with the eggs. The result is fertilization. This type of fertilization, where the fusion of a male and female gamete takes place outside of the body, we call it as external fertilization. Clear? We have basically two type of fertilization. One is internal, which happens in most of the human body, as well as like hen, cow, dogs, etc. And we also have external fertilization. The biggest example I can give you is of the frog, where the fertilization of the egg and the sperm happens outside the body. So it is very much common in most of the aquatic animals, not just frogs. Frog is a amphibian. Amphibian andre which can survive both inside the water as well as outside the water, that is land. However, there are other aquatic animals like fish, starfish, etc., which also undergo external fertilization. Okay. Though these animals lay hundreds of eggs and release millions of sperm, all the eggs do not get fertilized and develop into new individual. This is because the eggs and sperms get exposed to water movement, wind, and rainfall. Also, there are other animals in the pond which may feed on eggs. Thus, production of large number of eggs and sperm is necessary to ensure fertilization of at least a few of them. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮೊಟ್ಟೆಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಮರಿಗಳಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಥವಾ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಮರಿ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಉಳಿಯೋದು ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ. ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಡೌಟ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಶೋನ್ ಅ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಸೆಲ್, ಒಂದು ಮೊಟ್ಟೆ ಇಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ವುಡ್ ಬಿ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಹೌ ದಿಸ್ ವುಡ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇಂಟು ಸಚ್ ಬಿಗ್ ಬಾಡಿ? ಹೇಗೆ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಕುತೂಹಲ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಂತ ಹೋಗೋಣ ಬೈ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ. ಬಿಫೋರ್ that, I have to explain you about the male and female gametes again with points here. Okay, so this is a male reproductive organ. This part would be a bladder. Okay, urinary bladder. This is called as seminal vesicle ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಇದನ್ನ. ಇದನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಇದನ್ನ ವಾಸ್ ಡೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಡೋಂಟ್ ವರಿ, ಯು ನೀಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಲರ್ನ್ ದೀಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್, ಬಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯೋರ್ ನಾಲೆಜ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಶೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಯು. ದಿಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಯುರೇಥ್ರಾ. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ penis, this is epididymis, and this is testicle. Okay, please look at this image. But what you have to know from the exam point of view ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದದ ಭಾಗ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದನ್ನ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಡಕ್ಟ್. ಎರಡಿದೆ, ಒಂದ್ ಜೊತೆ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಡಕ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, and you have penis here, and this oval shaped is called as testis. Single one is called as testicle, dual one ಎರಡು ಸೇರಿ testis ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, penis, and then this one is called as, you have to tell sperm duct. Okay, ma'am ಒಬ್ರೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, even you have to speak. This is about male reproductive organ. Female reproductive organ would be like this. So this is called as uterine tube. This is a fallopian tube. Fallopian tube is also called as oviduct. Okay, oviduct andre fallopian tube. This is fimbriae anta karitare. This is ovary. This is endometrium. This is myometrium. This is cervix, and this is vagina. Okay, this is the female reproductive organ. But from exam point of view, you have to learn about oviduct, that is fallopian tube, ovaries, ಈ ಭಾಗ ovaries ಕರ್ಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ, and then This is uterus. This entire part is uterus. I repeat, fallopian tube or oviduct, ovaries, and then the entire uterus. Okay, these are the female reproductive organs in humans. In the next session, when we have, let us understand how an embryo would develop into a fetus or a baby. So ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋಣ. Meanwhile, how did you find today's class? Can we have some response? Did you find it interesting? No, ma'am, we don't need to give response now, isn't it? Okay. So there is another image which I had to show you. See, I told you a test tube baby cannot be grown in such a way, whereas a test tube baby can be grown in this kind of an environment where uh, to the female reproductive organ, the fertilized zygote is being injected through IVF. From that, the baby growth is normal like any other child. So this is how the growth of a child does happen. Clear? This was about today's session where we understood about male and female reproductive organ, about fertilization, internal fertilization, external fertilization. External fertilization can also happen in human, that is because of IVF. Okay, when the oviduct is blocked or when the male sperm cannot reach the female reproductive organ, in those situations external reproduction may happen. Apart from human, there are other animals also which undergo for external reproduction like aquatic animals and frogs. In the next class, let us understand how an embryo of an embryo, or sorry, a zygote would happen into an embryo and then a fetus and the baby. Clear? Hope this class was interesting to you. Let's meet in the next session. Until then, take good care of yourself. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka Mate, Jai Vidya Shakti. Namaste.
Thank you, Ashita ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Manasa ma'am?
Yes, we can start.
Yes, please. Okay, thank you.
A very happy evening, friends. How are you? Doing good? So last session, we started with conjunctions, right? It is also a part of speech. And we had begun the class with the small introduction. So before we start today's class, I'll be sharing a small thought. Also, we'll be getting to know about a famous city from our own state, about Mysore. So it could be added general knowledge factor to your, so interesting things we would be knowing why it is being called so. ಓಕೆ, ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಪರಿಚಯವಾಗಿರದೆ, ಆದರೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಆ ಥರ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಬಟ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ವಿತ್ ಅ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಥಾಟ್. If you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. ನೀವು ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯನ ಕಲಿಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಆಸೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಸರಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಇಫ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್ you are not at all motivated or you are not willing to learn, rather than saying not motivated, if at all you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. Self-help is the best help. In short words, if you notice, self-help is the best help. So if you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. If you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. So Mysore, I had told. So what is this place known as? It is also known as City of Palaces. So it is also cultural capital of India. ಇವನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ಏನ್ ಹೆಸರಿಂದ ಕರೀತಾರೆ? It is also called as Sandalwood City. ಸ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ವುಡ್ ಸಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. These are the various names given to Mysore, city of palaces, cultural capital of India. These are the other names for Mysore. So Mysore is known as city of palaces and cultural capital of Karnataka. Why? Because of its rich heritage and famous Mysore palace. Why it has been called a sandalwood city? Because of its strong sandalwood industry. So the production of these sandalwood products goes a lot from this place. Also, it is famous for these silk saris, Mysore silk sari. It's very famous, right? Silk saris and sandalwood products are very much famous in this city. It is also recognized for its craftsmanship. The city is being recognized for the craftsmanship. Also, it has been tagged as cleanest city. Mysore has been tagged as cleanest city in the year 2018. Among 478 cities which were surveyed, Mysore was categorized as the cleanest city in the year 2018. 2018. Also, the famous Mysore Palace. Who had built it? You know it? It was built by British architect Henry Irwin. It was built by British architect Henry Irwin, and it is a blend of Hindu, Mughal, Rajput, and Gothic styles. Right? So these are some of the information about the city Mysore. It's already been known to you that it is rich in heritage and culture, but we are getting to know the various other names that has been given to Mysore. Okay. So with that good note, we will begin today's class. We'll continue with the topic that we had stopped last session. We had begun with the topic conjunction. It is also a part of speech. It is also called as linkers, connectors. It is also called as linkers, connectors or joining words. So what does it do? It comprises of group of words wherein it joins two sentences. ಎರಡು ವಾಕ್ಯಗಳನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಸೇರಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ. Or it is group of words, or to join phrases also this conjunction is being used. ಸಂಜೆ ಹೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. I ate samosa. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ತುಂಬಾ ಹಸಿವು ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. I ate samosa. I drank milk. Two sentences. For all you notice, there are two sentences. I ate samosa. I drank milk. Common thing that you see over here, I. Who's the subject? Me. About me, I'm talking over here. Performer or doer of action is subject. What am I doing? I'm doing two things. I ate samosa. I drank milk. Two things I'm doing, right? If at all I want to combine it into one simple sentence, is it possible? Two different sentences. I ate samosa, I drank milk. Rather than writing it two individual sentences, I can combine it with the help of a word. That word is to be called as conjunction. I'm joining two sentences, and these two sentences are independent sentences. Why it is to be called as independent sentences? Because the sentence, it has subject and a verb. This sentence also has subject and a verb, and it gives a complete meaning, right? I can just join it with the help of this word alone. I ate samosa and drank milk. I ate samosa and drank milk. In coordinating conjunction, one thing you need to remember is that before I write the second half of the sentence, I need to place a comma. But here, it is just joining words. It is not two independent sentences. Because this word, I ate samosa, I drank milk, I can just combine it in this form. So in this sentence, comma isn't necessary. I went to school, I did my homework. If I'm saying like that, I went to school, comma, and I did my homework. I did my homework and did my homework. Did my homework, it gives a complete meaning. So it forms as a group of words that is to be called as a phrase. But here, it's just one word over here, drank milk or few words over here. So in that scenario, I don't use the comma. So general rule is that before I place the conjunction, I use a comma. Okay. Now we'll learn something more about independent clause and sentences in sentences using coordinating conjunctions. Okay. We'll see few sentences using coordinating conjunctions in an interesting manner. One moment, I'm sharing the screen. She missed the train or train bitpitlo. She missed the train. The school is closed. School muchide. You should work hard. If I read these sentences, the school is closed, I missed the train, I missed the bus. These kind of sentences, if at all you notice closely, there is a subject, there is a verb, and it is giving a complete meaning. Right? It is giving a complete meaning. We decided to go for a walk. ನಡ್ಕೊಂಬರೋಣ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಅವರು ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೊಟ್ಟೋದ್ರು. ದೇ ವೆಂಟ್ ಹೋಮ್. ಐ ವಿಲ್ ವಾಚ್ ಅ ಮೂವಿ. ನಾನೊಂದು ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ನ ನಾನು ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ. So what is this independent clause? An independent clause is a combination of at least one subject and a predicate. It expresses a complete thought. One subject, one verb minimum ಆಗಿ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಆ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ನ ನಾನು ಓದುವಾಗ ಅದು ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ನನಗೆ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಕೊಡೋ ಥರ ಇರೋ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ನ ನಾನು ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಕಾಂಬಿನೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅ ವರ್ಬ್. Minimum of one subject and a verb. Okay, not only one subject and a verb. Minimum, at least one subject and a predicate. Also, it indicates, it expresses a complete thought. So this is to be called as independent clause. Now we'll move on to sorry. So is there any hint word, ma'am, how I can remember these coordinating conjunctions? Because there are a lot of conjunctions that we will be coming across. Is there any hint or manner in which I can remember these coordinating conjunctions? Yes, you will. You can. So in this conjunctions, we have started with one of its kind, coordinating conjunctions. So coordinating conjunctions are used to join, these conjunctions are used to join two independent clauses. Joins two independent clauses. One independent clause means what? It has a minimum of one subject and a predicate. So two independent clauses, two sentences to be combined using a conjunction, and that conjunction is to be a coordinating conjunction. What are those conjunctions? Fan boys. What is this, ma'am? Fan boys. Using fan boys, shall we combine? No. These fan boys, it is abbreviated as a form for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. For and nor, but, or, yet, so. These are all the words for fanboys. For and nor, but, or, yet, so. Fanboys. You remember in this manner. What are all the coordinating conjunctions that we use? We use for and nor, but, or, yet. So, for you give a reason, okay, why it happened. In that scenario, as a coordinating conjunction, we use this for. And not only one thing happened, another thing also happened In that case, we use this conjunction and, nor. Options are there. It didn't happen, a negative form. But one happened, another didn't happen. One is a positive one, another is a negative situation. I came early, but I missed the bus. Although you reached the place quite early. The thing is, you missed the bus. Even if you reached that place early, you couldn't catch the bus. You missed it. One is positive. I went early. I missed the train or I missed the bus. It's a negative sentence. So one positive, one negative, independent clause. That together is being put up with the help of coordinating conjunction, but, or. There are two things and you have option and you can choose only one. You can choose only one out of the two things that has been given to you. I can have cake or biscuit. So option is you are being given cake, biscuit. Out of these two things, you can choose only one. Yet, although something a meaning gives by this word is the same. Yet. So you are giving a reason. I didn't wake up early, so I went late to the school. ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಬೇಗ ಎದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ ಆ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾನು ಲೇಟಾಗಿ ಹೋದೆ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಅ ರೀಸನ್. Yeah. So these are all the various conjunctions, coordinating conjunctions that we use to join two independent clauses. We'll see few sentences using these coordinating conjunctions. Okay. My car has a radio dash a CD player. ನನ್ನ ಕಾರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ರೇಡಿಯೋ ಪ್ಲೇಯರು ಇದೆ, CD ಪ್ಲೇಯರು ಇದೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡೂ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತಾನೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಒಂದಿದೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆದ್ರೂ ಇಲ್ಲ ಆ ಥರ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಲ್ಲ. My car has a radio and a CD player. Both it has two things that is there. He left the book on the table dash on the cupboard. He left the book on the table dash on the cupboard. ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ ಈ ತರ? ಟೇಬಲ್ ಮೇಲೂ ಇಟ್ಟ, ಕಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಇಟ್ಟ. ಅಂಡ್ ನ ಬಳಸ್ಬೋದಾ? ಎರಡರಲ್ಲೂ ಇಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. Which conjunction we can use? Perfect. Superb. No. He neither kept. Actually, the option chosen over here is by mistakenly or. The one that you chose was perfectly right. Okay. Not to be worried. I ran fast. Dash I came last. I ran fast. Dash I came last. I ran fast, yet I came in the last. I ran fast and I came in the last. One moment. Just a moment. There's a technical glitch. My car has a radio dash a CD player and a CD player. Correct? He left the book on the table dash on the cupboard. Table ಮೇಲೂ ಇಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, cupboard ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಇಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. Perfect. I ran fast dash I came last. The sentence has been repeated 3 to 4 times. Sorry for that. I ran fast. ಬೇಗ ಓಡಿದೆ, ಆದ್ರೂ ನಾನು ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದೆ. Yet, correct. Perfect. I have to find new dress dash for dash my sister's marriage. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ the reason why I need to find a new dress, the reason being it is my sister's marriage. For it is the reason that you're giving. Perfect, children. She usually eats at home dash she likes cooking. Why she usually eats at home? The reason being she likes cooking. For great, superb. When you're giving the reason and join two independent clauses, see, we are using this conjunction for because it is a coordinating conjunction. Two independent clauses are there, two independent sentences. That is, it is having a subject and a predicate. See here, she eats, subject and verb. Right? Again here, she likes. Next sentence. They rushed to the school dash they were late. One is a positive one, other is a negative one. In that scenario, what I told earlier, they rushed to the school or they were late. Is this the manner that we say they rushed to the school, so they were late? ಆ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅವ್ರು ಲೇಟಾಗಿ ಹೋದ್ರು. ಬೇಗ ಹೋದ್ರು, ಸಾರಿ, they rushed. ಆದ್ರೂ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಗೆ ಲೇಟಾಗಿ ಹೋದ್ರು. Great, amazing. So interactive you are. Superb, children. Thank you for being so interactive. Last sentence. He was sick dash he couldn't play football. You're giving the reason why one thing didn't happen. He was sick, so he couldn't play football. Correct. So fun voice is the hint word. You're telling out the reason why he couldn't play football. That is why we are using this conjunction. So, the reason being he was sick. What happened being sick? He couldn't play football. Okay. Yet one is happening despite a negative cause, negative reason. In that scenario, you can use it. Why one thing is being happening? That is the case. That is the reason why we are using so. Okay, you're coming to a conclusion why one thing didn't happen. Why couldn't the boy play football? Because he was sick. The reason being sick, he couldn't play football. That is why we are using the conjunction so. Okay, understood why I chose so? Next, we'll move on to dependent clause. Dependent clause is being used in subordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunctions are used sentences where there is a dependent clause and another is independent clause. So it has a subject and a predicate. Subject is there, predicate is there. Predicate is nothing but a verb. Here also we can find in sentences subject also predicate. The one thing that gets differentiated Reason is there is no complete thought. If at all I read this dependent clause, it doesn't give a complete meaning. No complete thought. Complete thought, a meaningful sentence appears over here. It gives a complete sense. It is not dependent on other sentence. In independent clause, two independent clause, when we joined using coordinating conjunction, one sentence was not dependent on other sentence. Here, it is not the situation. This dependent clause is dependent on this independent clause. Only if this sentence is there along with this dependent clause, it gives a complete meaning. Otherwise, it doesn't happen. So, we'll see such kind of sentences. One moment. Because she was late. What happened because she was late? Another sentence is required, right? She missed the train, she missed the bus, she couldn't catch the flight. You can't tell anything. This sentence is half complete. Because she was late. What happened as she was late? I don't know. If you have to succeed in life, ನಾನು ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಗೆಲ್ಬೇಕು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು? ನಾನು ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಎಫರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು. ಈ ಎರಡು ಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ? Is this sentence giving that meaning? No, it is half complete. If you have to succeed in life, what I need to do? That meaning it isn't been given over here. If it rains tomorrow, ignore this S. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ನಾಳೆ ಮಳೆ ಬೀಳ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ರೈನ್ಸ್ ಟುಮಾರೋ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೂಲ್. ಆ ಥರ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ? ಎಸ್, ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್. ಬಟ್ ದಟ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಗಿವನ್? ನೋ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ಂಟ್ ಗಿವನ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹಾಫ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್. When I reach home, what will I do when I reach home? I will watch TV, ma'am. Everyone does that. Apart from that, is there anybody who does something different? I help my mother. Very good. Nice. When I reach home, okay, this sentence alone, if I read, does it give a complete meaning? ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಈ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಪೂರ್ತಿಯಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. Another sentence is required to give a complete thought. So these sentences are dependent clause. These sentences are examples for dependent clauses. As she was very hungry, what she did? As she was very hungry, she ate quickly. She ate bananas quickly. ಬಾಳೆಹಣ್ಣುಗಳನ್ನ ಬೇಗ ತಿಂದಳು. ಈ ತರ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. As she was very hungry. Another sentence is required. Here it isn't there. So what is this dependent clause? A group of words that include subject and a verb but does not express a complete thought. Subject and verb, it is there, but it isn't giving a complete meaning. That is called as a dependent clause. Now, we'll join the sentences, okay, using a dependent and independent clause. And one thing I have to say over here is, if at all the sentence begins with a dependent clause and then it is followed with an independent clause, you place a comma. So first comes the dependent clause, then followed by independent clause means you place a comma. If the sentence begins with independent clause, then followed by dependent clause, don't get confused. IC is independent clause, DC is dependent clause. I don't place a comma in between. Only if the sentence begins with a dependent clause followed by independent clause, I place a comma in between. As I worked hard, I scored good marks. As I worked hard, comma, I scored good marks. ನಾನು ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿರೋ ಎಫರ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕಿದ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾನು ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾನು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ನ ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಕೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಆಸ್ ಐ ವರ್ಕ್ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್, ಐ ಸ್ಕೋರ್ಡ್ ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಸೊ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಐ ರೈಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಐ ವರ್ಕ್ ಹಾರ್ಡ್, ಯು ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಅ ಕಮ. If you're telling the same sentence in this manner, I scored good marks as I studied well. Same meaning, but how am I placing the conjunction? Am I placing it in the beginning or am I placing it after it? If it comes in the beginning, I place a comma. If it comes after independent clause, I don't place a comma. Okay, we'll get to know some of the subordinating conjunctions. Okay, interestingly with an activity. Now we'll be joining a dependent clause and an independent clause. Okay, first we'll identify the dependent clause sentences. Okay. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಆಗಿರೋ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ, ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್, doesn't give a complete sense, half complete, even though it is having a subject and a verb. Okay. Please let me know what are all the sentences that we can place in dependent clause. Dependent. It is dependent on other person. Dependent on other person means independent clause. ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಪ್ಪ ಅಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ. So we are dependent clause. Parents are independent. Right? So dependent clause. What are the sentences over here? After the rain stops. Okay. What will happen after the rain stops? Half complete meaning. Which are all the sentences? Since you are here, ನೀನಿರೋ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ? Although it was raining, ಮಳೆ ಬಿದ್ದಿದ್ರು ಸರಿ, ಏನಾಯ್ತು? As soon as we finish the project, ಆ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ನ ಮುಗಿಸಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? See, all these 4 sentences, if you read, there is a subject and a verb, but it isn't giving a complete meaning. Independent clause, after the rain stops. I'll just take 2 minutes of yours. He will leave. Okay. Since you are here, let's start the meeting. ನೀನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರೋ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಇವಾಗಲೇ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ನ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡೋಣ. ಆಲ್ದೋ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ರೈನಿಂಗ್, ನಾವು ಪಾರ್ಕ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗೋಣ ಅಂತ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಆಸ್ ಸೂನ್ ಆಸ್ ವಿ ಫಿನಿಶ್ ದಿ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್, we will take a break. So you can tell either ways. But how am I going to place it? He will leave after the rain stops. That will come over here. He will leave is the sentence in independent clause. Okay. He will leave after the rain stops. See, first the independent clause is appearing, then comes the dependent clause. So I haven't inserted a comma over here. Since you are here, let's start the meeting. ನೀನು ಇಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಇವಾಗಲೇ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ನ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡೋಣ. Since you are here, this sentence is a dependent clause. So I'm placing a comma immediately after it. Although it was raining, we decided to go to the park. We will take a break as soon as we finish the project. Here, first independent clause is appearing, then dependent clause is written. So that is the reason comma isn't being placed over here. So we understood the meaning of dependent clause, independent clause. If dependent clause appears in the beginning, remember that you need to place a comma, then write independent clause. If the scenario is such that independent clause appears in the beginning, then followed by dependent clause, no need to use the comma. Okay. Okay. So in today's session, we got to know about Coordinating conjunctions, its meaning. So coordinating conjunctions, what are the words that we use? Difference between dependent clause and independent clause, and joined using subordinating conjunctions. So that is it for the day. I hope the session was interesting and useful to you. Let me know if it was, and we will continue conjunctions in next class as well. Any doubts to anyone? Clear to everybody? Today's class? Clear, children? Today's topic? Fine. Thinking that it was clear and interesting, I shall end the session over here. We will again meet in the next class. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Vidya Shakti. Thank you.
Thank you, Manasa. Thank you.